We're resuming with our next featured reader. Brandon Diaz is a fiction writer, music maniac, and journalist. When not scouring the web for the newest hottest, he's probably spinning a set on the ones and twos in his Oakland crib and trying to break in some stiff denim. So everyone welcome Brandon.
So I lost a little bit of my voice yesterday at the football game. It's not convenient. Prizes. Life is hell, but at least there is smoke. Our house's junk drawer has tobacco, just one pack, along with the odd mail we may need in order to dispute a charge someday. There is weed, too, in a red jar with a handle designed solely for the purpose of keeping the green sealed and cured for those stoners who need cannabis-specific accessories for a lazy evening on the couch with comedies. There are some tools, too, screwdrivers, scissors, and drawer hardware in case a handle falls off. There are IKEA light bulbs, the small ones, and an assortment of pens and tea candles. It's routine now to pull the drawer for a smoke when our lives are cloudy with the noxious stinging of the day that weighs on our backs like a fallen comrade in war, that comrade being your spirit, so yanked by your arm from the peace that existed when we woke up, when we were born. We sift through junk to pack in toxins to provide momentary relief ritualistically, the little sticks like prizes. All right, this is just a segment from a short story I worked on with Andrew Jordan last spring, and just sent out for submission. So, some fiction. The Blonde. There was a blonde woman. She wore a red scarf the color of neon on brick at a jazz bar. She sat on the bench across the train's aisle 3 rows behind him. With her was a male companion whom Darren reasoned was several years his junior, a smooth brown face holding a classic Mediterranean nose that had never seen a fight, eyes that had never seen a divorce. The man gestured urgently with his hands that were exclamatory. Annoyance. Annoyance with the blonde? Darren Townsend could make out the man spoke in accented English. The man rolled his eyes and pulled the hood off of a winter coat over his head. He shrugged at the woman, shaking his head. The blonde sat tense and sour. Her fingers traced the denim of her pants from thigh to knee with disquieted repetition. He shuttered his mouth, folding his arms. She rolled her eyes with lips pinched. A muffle of curses pitched out of her mouth. Darren was too far away to catch the words, but presumed muffled curses. He swung his body around for an impudent look their direction, head on. With shoes on his seat, knees bent, Darren Townsend positioned himself as an unabashed spectator. He shifted to face the couple as a bold voyeur from the land of 3 rows away. Were they suffering from travel fatigue and low blood sugar, he wondered? Foregoing the nicety of stealth in a public place, he produced the whiskey and put it to his lips, because for Darren Townsend, hopes of enticing her company could come with a flash of a flask and a strategy of eye tag. I look at you until you feel the pressure of my gaze. You peek in return until our eyes bump in passing, and then tag, you're it. With spindly fingers pressing her brow, the blonde turned to speak to her disgruntled companion. Darren's attention drew to her fingernails, polished a glossy crimson, a hue matching that of the knitted scarf that swung up to her ears. Her hair was pulled back, but not sloppy. The man's head rested on the cool window, and the blonde leaned in to plead her last case. Darren couldn't hear, but presumed she was atoning for something. The exchange of an acknowledgement for an apology, some earlier misdeed. The companion sucked his teeth, flinging his attention to the abyss of the Alps, willfully unresponsive. And then she was alone, with her eyes facing forward out the window. Unmoved, she was alone next to the man. The presumed lover, the husband, the travel companion, with some sort of skittish skirmish between them that had been resolved and bench seating under them. Darren Townsend, with the foot at the crest of his confidence, began to stare with intention. He didn't sheepishly pull away when the blonde shifted her eyes toward his. He wanted her to see that he was looking, that he just may have noticed their tiff and that he sympathized. The misfortune of a travel companion who was now an adversary. He had recognized it, and it made him sympathetic, he thought. It was Darren and Marie Townsend in the airport in Belize after the cabana incident. Then the blonde stood up. She headed through the soft orange air down the aisle. Darren repositioned his duffel bag on the floor, and then she was upon him. Through red lipstick, she leaned in and asked, "You speak English?" This is a prose poem called Search Party. At the base of the basin, they recovered a clump of hair from the missing man, whose family dressed up in their best aghast faces for the duration of weeks, just beyond the limits of the city, where the orange clouds from the night below pulled away from the safe tumbles of the suburbs that hugged their more perfect pedigree so tight that when she graduated from college, she found that her rent remained subsidized through her drug-soaked years in the underworld, where tobacco fingers shot sparks, where dusk was washed by the calls of exercise and the ritual of knowing people, complete with the weak supply of champagne tea and more organic drugs, because reduction to exposure is a philosophy worth its weight in knowing the folds of the bartender's stomach or the guitarist's, so messily adorned with fuzz as abstract as his thinking on how many babies he really wants with her, a notion he's plowed around glass after glass of vino verde, which she supplied. And he believed that his practice of being in the present would cement true this reverie where every twilight would taste like sand and eucalyptus, and those singers weren't still going on about September, and a guy named Jimmy with his coy and sometimes cruel car crash advice just beyond the feedback, above the streets like beds of death, below nighttime's dirty nails, following all of his fire in the middle trail in that regional park where one goes to have an excuse to be full of air and say, "This is where I go to be alone." All the while, in a fit of compassion, the wind touches down to coo in his hair. All right. This is called When Girls Telephone a Wolf at the Door. She's a sexy skull. She's a sweet gremlin in purple. She's a wishing punk. She's a ghost. She's a warrior all bloody with tearing teeth and tears and tears. She's standing pain and she's nectar too. She's a death countdown in a strobe light with leather. She's two of her. She's never any of her. She's always plenty of her in ritual sunshine. She's the night's teeth while the moon runs away. She's one of these days, ripe and inedible. She's a wet, violent scene. She's here, here, and there. She's breakfast and broken, pieced together diamonds. She's a stench made for phantoms in gray. She's a skin made for fires. She's rope burn later. All right, and last one here is called The Glass Man. When the volume of bustling persons raises flame on the beaker of solitude, the man born of porcelain lies demoted to glass. He offers shards to the morning, leaking plasma onto seats, his red for the morning murder and the raven's leer, coffee the sustained skull, the immortal bitter, when the daily nomads rush with violence, and it's not personal, the nudge, the bump, the kissing, it never is, you see, the red air combing the vacant streets, the glass man. Thank you.